Induction is a variety of medical procedures designed to induce labour in pregnant women. There's nothing natural about it. It can be done for various reasons, but the only ones that are really valid are medical reasons. But often it's given because of age or size of baby, all sorts of things. But it's an artificial procedure and it isn't respecting the natural rhythms of the body. So how can induction be natural? The sad thing is that these days many women feel that they have to go into labour when they're told to by weeks of pregnancy by their medical practitioner, and they're afraid of going beyond a certain date because then they might be medically induced, and that's why they're coming to me. They're feeling a lot of pressure and they want to try something else. I work with shiatsu, acupressure. It's a form of Chinese medicine working with the meridians and points. And again, probably many of you have heard, well, if you press this point, sometimes it's one in the shoulder, gallbladder 21, sometimes it's one more in your ankle, spleen 6, then that will make you go into labour. Well, it may, but only if you're ready. But also, more importantly, only if your baby's ready. And I think this is quite a misunderstanding of the whole nature of Chinese medicine, which is a system which is looking at the whole of your body, and points access different aspects of your physical body. So the one in the shoulder is going to potentially act physically on your shoulder, but also maybe you're holding emotions. Maybe you're scared of birth, maybe you're worried about something, and that expresses in your shoulder. And gallbladder 21 will help to release tension in your shoulder. And sometimes that's why women don't go into labour. They're afraid, they're pressurised. In fact, threatening a woman with medical induction is probably the best way to not support her to go into labour. So women are quite rightly wanting to seek more natural ways of going into labour. But at the end of the day, it's really about, we go into labour when our body's ready to go into labour. And it's not just that our body, a mother's body, needs to be ready to go into labour. It's also her baby needs to be ready. Some people don't like the term labour, or birthing your baby is natural. And your body and your baby's body are designed to go through this. And we need to remember that. And how do we know when they're ready? Well, there are so many different unknowns. And from someone outside, it's really hard to know. And a lot of the medical procedures are things like ripening your cervix, but your cervix will ripen in its own time, like an apple on a tree. We know when an apple on a tree is ripe. It's a bit harder to know when your baby's ready. And because of all this pressure at the end of pregnancy, women often are feeling stressed, and stress actually blocks the hormonal changes, which are one of the things that we can measure that change when a woman is going into labour, and stress blocks that. So that's actually not very helpful for the mother. But there are many other reasons why the mother's body isn't ready. It could be that she's holding a lot of tension in her pelvis and she needs to release that, because tension in the pelvis or pain could be preventing her baby from getting into a helpful position for birth. So there may be physical reasons why the woman isn't ready. Our emotions also play a really key role in whether we're ready to go into birth. There's a time when it is the time to go into labour, and a woman does deep down know that, but often there are so many voices around her saying, well, haven't you given birth yet? When's your baby due? That she loses sight of connection with her own body's wisdom. Now that's something that shiatsu can definitely help with. Whether or not I include any of these so-called labour points, a key part is helping the mother to relax, but also to tune into her body. And often a benefit of this session is that she can come into acceptance and understand, actually, I'm not quite ready yet. And I trust my body. I trust that my body will go into labour when it's ready to go into labour. And the best thing I can do is to just support it as best I can in any given moment. So if having shiatsu helps support that, great, have a shiatsu or a massage or any kind of body work. If going for a walk helps that, moving your body is really great because that prepares you for labor as well. Do that. If just going and lying down and having a rest helps you with that, do that. Often when I've given my clients a shiatsu or massage at the end of pregnancy, they feel really tired at the end, they go home, they go to sleep, their body resets, and if they're ready to go into labor, quite often they do go into labor. But if they're not ready, they've got some energy to get them through the next few days and enjoy the last few days of their pregnancy. So we've talked a bit about the mother, but also the baby needs to be ready, and the baby's system, there are hormones that change in the baby, and the baby is very responsive to the mother's mood. So part of how the baby gets ready is from feeling into how the mother is. Are they feeling safe? Are they feeling that it's time to be born? And if they're feeling a bit stressed, if the mother's stressed and anxious, then the baby's likely to feel stressed and anxious, and that may interfere with their hormones as well. Also, the baby's position. And that can be helped by the mother moving and helping the baby in the last few weeks of pregnancy. The baby's making final adjustments to be into a position that helps during birth. But we also have to remember that we can't fix the baby's position, and the baby may move into quite a few different positions there also. It's not about fixing position, it's about helping them to build up tone and be physically ready for the demands of birth, which is a labor for the baby as well, so that they can cope with the intense demands of labor, of the contractions, and also being squeezed out through the birth canal. So both mother and baby need to be ready. Can shiatsu and Chinese medicine and other things help? Well, yes, I've already described that. But that's understanding now how these systems work with the body holistically. And when we're working with someone, I might show them some of the points, because the points that are listed as, will these help with labor, are mostly points on the extraordinary vessels. If you don't know what the extraordinary vessels are, I have loads of videos on what they are, but they're basically more powerful meridians, vessels, than the 12 meridians, and they directly connect with our womb and our brain. And it's really the connection between our womb and our brain that initiates the hormonal changes, which are included in many of the medical procedures. It's putting artificial hormones into our body from outside, either injecting them or putting them into our vagina. And artificial hormones don't act in the same way, and they can cause complications in themselves. With shiatsu, we're only working on mobilizing the mother's own energies within her body. And so I don't like to say, I'm going to induce, well, that's a medical procedure, or even I'll help you go into labor. It's more, this work can help prepare you and your baby to go into labor. Now, some of these points, gallbladder 21 is on a couple of the extraordinary vessels, and they help regulate your nervous system, so they're very calming. Gallbladder 21 can actually have a downward effect with some women. So if the baby's a bit high in your pelvis, it may help your baby descend. Spleen 6 on the foot is a very calming yin anchoring point. So if the mother's been rushing around and is stressed and hasn't really had time to prepare herself for birth, this can bring about a deep sense of calm and well-being. And it's a point on what I now like to call the nourishing vessel, the penetrating vessel, the chong mai, which also is helping to prepare her body for birth, but not only birth. Both of these points also prepare for after birth, for the postnatal period. Gallbladder 21 can be good for breastfeeding. But I see my role is that I can teach parents some of these points, which can be helpful, but I check them out and see how each woman is with the points. But I also do say, never just press these points mechanically. They're like gateways into your body, and feel if the gate is the doorway ready to open. Are you ready for birth? Does your body want this point? Because I've also read or seen many people saying, oh yes, use this point for, hold it for 10 seconds 3 or 4 times a day as deeply as you can. 2 seconds might be enough for one person and 12 seconds for somebody else. So I never teach them in that way. each person's body is unique, each mother, each baby is unique, and we need to feel which of the points might be helpful. How do we know? Basically because they feel good. If a point feels good to work, if it's helping you feel relaxed, more connected with your body, perhaps more in tune with your breathing or more in tune with your baby, use it. It might work today, tomorrow it might be a different point or area. So I'm just going to give a few little descriptions of some of the main things that can help, and I have more detailed videos on all of those. For the mother's body, and remember that when we work with the mother's body, it's always going to help her baby. Often there's a lot of tension around the sacrum, and there's a lot of really lovely deep work you can do, both with positioning, being more in forward leaning position, standing leaning, or all fours leaning, or even squatting rather than leaning back, which gives more pressure on your pelvis, but also less space for your baby. And all of these positions are great for birth. And so practicing those kind of positions is really helpful. But also getting your partner to work. So as well as these points, a couple of points I've named, but there are many other points. But the ones I actually find are often the most helpful are the ones on your lower back, your sacrum, these 8 points. So I've got some videos on that of how your partner can give you lovely deep pressure on your lower back, which will help you, again, not just helping your body prepare for birth, but during birth as well. And simply also just taking time to relax. I think, again, these days, a lot of the reasons I find that women aren't going into labour, apart from stress and anxiety, are they're just exhausted. They've been working till a few weeks before birth. They've been rushing around trying to do this and that and the other, and they just need a bit of a rest. And so letting go of all these external pressures, just resting, just taking time to be with yourself, and just connecting with your baby, closing your eyes, feeling your baby's movements, talking to your baby, singing to your baby, all these kind of things really help in birth. And I think I might finish with just a brief little chant that I often give women and their partners to connect with their babies, so that you understand that you can't have natural inductions. If we want to support our body naturally, we're not putting anything in from the outside, but we're supporting through touch, through breath, through movement, through also creating a supportive atmosphere for the mother in which to feel safe. And actually safety, I haven't mentioned that, but that's one core thing. We see it a lot with animals. When a cat wants to give birth, or a dog, they go off into a dark space. They're on their own, and they know when to give birth, but they want to be on their own. And women know when they want to give birth, but they need to feel safe to do that. So whatever helps you feel safe and create a safe space for your baby to be born into is going to help you ready your body for birth. So I'm going to finish with a brief chant which goes, this is using some Sanskrit sounds, and a yoga teacher taught me this 35 years ago when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I really love the sounds that this gave and the feeling of connection and power it gave to me, which are the sounds of Baba, baby. Baby is a sound in Baba in many languages. Baba. Papa, to invite in the energy of the father. And actually it could be the father who's stressed that's blocking the process of labour as well. And Ma, mother. So I will end with taking a deep breath, breathing out. Ba ba pa pa ma. 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 Let your body be a vessel. Trust that you can birth your baby in your own time. Thank you for listening, and I'd love to hear your feedback and comments and any clarifications needed.